Well, good morning, everyone. We have our presenter present with us this morning, and his name's Jim Corner. And Jim is missionary and preacher of the United States and preacher everywhere in Europe and Africa, and especially in Cameroon, where he's been there for how many years now, Jim? 25 years. And with all of the challenges that are faced, he's hung in there, and we've been a part of it, small part, but he appreciates the effort, and we want to be encouraging to him. His visiting with him last night shared with us a lot of the events of his experiences for Cameroon, and there are many, and dedication and perseverance is one of the traits that Jim has. Jim worships at Bammel Road, not
Buckingham Road, like Buckingham Palace.
Buckingham Road Church in Texas, and I wanted to say the other one, but Buckingham Road in Texas. Been there for many years, and the congregation doing a good work. So he's going to present an overview of the work in Cameroon and the current situation, which is challenging for them, as much as we have a challenge shared here in the United States with the COVID concerns. So Jim, if you would, you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm on. Good morning. It is so good to be with y'all. As Keith said, we're going to do just an overview, primarily, two things. We're going to look at the seminar we had a year ago. COVID, of course, has just blown up everything. And so the last time I was in Cameroon was in February of last year, because I can't get a visa. The borders are closed. When they will open, God knows. And when they open, I'll head back. What I want to do, first of all, is this thing working, Kevin? Oh, you got to turn it on. How come? That makes a difference, doesn't it? There you go. I don't know how many times I've come up here. It's been a bunch. And every time that I come to make a report, I start out the same way, and I'm not apologizing for that. I'm just letting you know that I know that I do this, and that's to say thank you. I was with the congregation a month ago, something like that. No, I take it back. I was visiting with some people who have helped me over the years financially. And the girl, a great couple, we just love them to death. They live in Midwest City, Oklahoma. She said, "You do all the work." And I said, "No, I don't. This is a collaborative situation. You take away people like y'all who contribute, and I would have had to done something terrible years ago, and that is get a job. And we all know preachers don't work. It's just, I don't know why anybody would not want to be a preacher, because you just get to play, and once a week you get up and talk and you open your mouth and words fall out. That's the way it works. But anyway, I am deeply grateful to you. What I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a few slides at the beginning. They're just kind of, I think they'll be interesting to you. If they're not, don't tell me afterwards. My feelings get hurt real easy. I have a very fragile psyche. Okay, this picture here, you notice the don't enter sign, and you see some machines on the left that are entering there, and the red means green. That came from John Claude. I said to John Claude, I said, "Doesn't red mean don't enter?" He says, "No, red means green." Because I know I've told you this before, the machines have no rules, okay? Here's just a picture in Douala. Douala is 3 times the size of Dallas, okay? This picture was taken from a hotel room that I stay at, a hotel that I stay at. This is one of my favorite pictures. And this goes back to the no rules for machines. A machine goes wherever it can go, okay? If a sidewalk is handy and the traffic is real heavy, then you take the sidewalk. If going down the wrong way on a one-way street would be the most advantageous, that's what you do. If you're on a median, if there's a median, you take them in. I love it. I love to ride machines, and it's the only way to travel in Douala. Okay, I'd never seen a slide like this ever until last year. Now, you probably can't read it from where you're at, but underneath fast it says, show this sign to the song leader when he's going too slowly. So y'all might want to get a fast sign and have somebody at the back, and if whoever leads your singing is dragging things, hey boy, pick it up. I just laughed when I saw that. I thought that was hilarious. Now I've seen these signs, and I don't like, and I'm not joking, I don't like this. They have a timekeeper for the sermon, and there are 4 signs: 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, stop. I have a friend named Virgil Butler. Virgil's 86, something like that. He made 8 trips with me to Cameroon, something like that. He's probably 75, 72 at the time. He's preaching at a church, and a guy named Brother Coombe was the timekeeper. And Virgil's preaching, and Brother Coombe had flashed the 15-minute sign, and when he flashed the 10-minute sign, Virgil looked at him and said, Brother Coombe, you can flash all the signs you want to, but I'm not stopping until I'm done. You might as well put your sign down. Well, because he was an old man. Because you need to understand, 52 is the life expectancy in Cameroon. So I'm 71. When I'm there, almost always, I'm the oldest person in the room. There may be 1 or 2 if it's in a larger congregation. And so in deference, I guess, Virgil, he put down his signs and he finished his talk. Okay, Nicanor. Nicanor is a young man. He's about 30 years old. He translated for me the church building behind. It's a very, very small building. It's the Log Palm Church of Christ in Douala. Like I said, Douala is 3 times the size of Dallas, has 5 congregations. John Claude's is the largest with about 220, and Log Palm is 40, 50 maximum. Well, anyway, Nicanor translated for me, and when he walked up to me, he said, "You've known me since I was a kid." He's French, and you know, and he's right. I've known him since he was like 5 years old. He's a great kid. Did a great job of translating. Okay, you know these 2 buzzards, or well, there's actually only 1 buzzard. That's Richard. And Lori, they teach with me every other year. Unfortunately, unless Cameroon opens up quick, and I'm talking within the next 2 weeks, we will not have the seminar until next February, which would have been Lori and Richard's turn, but my little brother and another lady, they're already in the pipeline, and so Richard and Lori may have to skip. They're just great. I love them. And he's a great preacher, he's a good teacher. She's a great teacher. So we enjoyed that. Here is, we put together a seminar booklet for everybody in the seminar. I'm going to give you some numbers in a minute. We translate into French. We have 5 days with the French brethren, 5 days with the English brethren. And the purpose of the book, okay, the overall mission of the seminar is not only to equip the leaders, but it's that they will go back to their congregations and share with them what they have learned. And so every one of them gets to go back with one of these. Now I want to show you some figures. First of all, from, well, you can see 2019-2020 on the French. And you can see there's not a whole lot of difference. 2020, like 6 more, or these are averages, daily averages. 7 more men in the preaching class. That would have been Richard's class. Well, it'd be my little brother's class at that time. The sisters, 6 more. The afternoon class, which is mine, is even. But I want you to look at the English. See the great difference? They're all more than double 2020 to 2019. Now the reason is very simple. There's been a crisis, and I'm going to talk to you more about that near the end. There's been a crisis in Cameroon now for 4 years. And so I cannot travel to the English side. I've been told if I travel to the English side, I will be kidnapped. They don't want to kill me. They don't want to hurt me. They want to sell me. And my wife said she'd give $10, and so I don't think that would work. And so I've been in the English side since probably 2017 or so. And so we had to bring them to us, and that's why you have the great disparity from 2019 to 2020. Glenn B. Song translated for Richard on the English side. Terrence is he's not a headmaster. Can't remember the terminology. It would be the equivalent of vice principal for us. Terrence, okay, in America, since COVID hit, we know that in some places in the country, you've had kids that haven't been in school for like a year. In Cameroon, because of the crisis, we have some kids who have not been in school for 4 years. Okay, well, Terrence's school was shut down, and that's why he was able to come to Douala. Normally, he'd be working, and he did a great job. Okay, I want to talk to you very briefly about the classes themselves. This is Richard's class, and I'll explain getting the atmosphere. Richard's class was, how do you study the Bible? How do you present Bible lessons or Bible sermons with only a Bible? Now, and here's the thought process behind it. An American preacher, we all have, Bible programs. And so we have access on our computer to so many translations, the Greek text, the Hebrew text, Bible dictionaries, you name it, all kinds of commentaries. Okay, many of our preachers in Cameroon have a Bible. Maybe a small concordance in the back. That's it. But Richard did just a great job of showing them, guess what? You can take only the text and you can put together good sermons. Now, I want you to think for a minute. And Keith and Nancy and I were talking about this last night briefly. In America, the greatest period of growth in the church was in the 1800s. Now, what America looked like in the 1800s? It looked like Cameroon. No running water, no electricity, no Abilene Christian or Harding or Sunset School of Preaching. The preachers were either on horses or on foot with a Bible. That's all they had. And so what Richard did, he showed, he took the book of Philemon, because it's only 25 verses. So in 5 days, you can't take Romans, and cover it. And he would say, if you're going to preach a sermon or teach a lesson, take, whether it's a little baby book like Philemon or 2nd, 3rd John or Jude, or maybe you're taking a book like Romans, but you're going to take it section by section, and you read it a minimum of 10 times before you do anything else. And that's getting the atmosphere, just trying to get a flavor of what in this case Paul was saying to Philemon. And of course, obviously the class was much more involved than that. But the kids, the preachers were all, they loved his class. He did a great job. Okay, this is my class. I always teach the afternoon class, and I teach both men and women. Richard teaches men only in the morning, and while he was teaching Lori, and I'll show you her picture in a minute, Lori was teaching the sisters. At any rate, my class was on spiritual eyesight. And what we did, we looked at 4 things we should put our eyes on, and 4 things we should remove our eyes from. We should put our eyes on Scripture, on Jesus, on evangelism, on the receptive. We should remove our eyes from one another, sin, the world, and the American. Now, I can't begin to remember what I told you 4 years ago, okay? I told Kevin when he came in, or no, it was Susan, is that right? Hallelujah. Because 1 minute after I met Susan, after she gave me her name, I said, "Now what's your name?" So I don't expect you to remember what I said 4 years. I don't remember what I said 4 years ago. But anyway, one thing. Where I had a senior moment. Where was I headed before? I was going to make an excellent point. I know that's the only kind of points I make.
The American.
What now?
The American.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Victor. Hey, that's your name, right?
Yeah.
Hallelujah. Okay, I'm 2 for 2 or something. I'm on a roll. Okay. Okay. Mission work is all opinion. Now let me explain what I mean by that. Jesus gave us the Great Commission, but the Great Commission is broad. I mean, so broad. There are no, here's how you do it, here's where you go, stuff like that. And so one person will say, well, I think we should support natives until they die. Okay. Someone else will say, well, I think we should support natives, and maybe on a 10-year, we reduce it by 10% every year. The local church upgrades it. Okay, fine. One person will say we need to build church buildings. Someone else, no, we shouldn't build church buildings. We should buy Bibles for the people. No, we should not buy Bibles. Okay, we should go to this country. We should go to this country. We should have an American missionary stay there for 5 years, for 20 years, till he dies. That's all philosophy, isn't it? That's all philosophy. Okay. I think that while Americans with good hearts, always a good heart, I think we have done a lot of harm in some cases with dollars, where we just basically threw money. You need some more money? Here you go. And that was that. Okay? Well, to me it's like a crutch. Now I've never broken any kind of bone, but let's say you break your leg. Okay, you got to be on crutches for a while, right? And crutches, for a period of time, are beneficial. But if 5 years after you broke your leg, you're still on crutches, the crutches are harmful now. The crutches are hurting you. They're making your body weaker, right? And one of the struggles I have, and when you make decisions, money decisions, or a lot of other kind of decisions, sometimes you say, boy, I hope I'm right, and maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, and sometimes you can later on say that was a good decision, that was a bad decision. And one of the struggles that I have is how much money are we going to throw at Cameroon? Because I still think we need to be helping them, and I could give you a lot of reasons. But at the same token, or at the same time, we want to reduce it. Let me give you a quick illustration. 8 years ago, we had 14 native preachers on support. We now have 6. That's by design. Okay. Now, some of those 6 may be on for a long time. But at any rate, that was what my class was all about. Okay, Lori's class. Lori did something different this year, or last year. For, I'm going to say a decade, the woman teacher, whether it was Lori Sutton, whether it was Louise Clement, whoever the lady was, she taught the sisters on how to teach children. Cameroon has somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million people. 40% of them are under 15 years of age. So a lot of kids. We've written 5 sets of curriculum. I say we, the Cameroonians, have written them. I have a friend, he's with the Lord now, but his name is Terry Harlow. Terry went with me to Cameroon 5 times. Terry was an educator, and he was a big dog educator. He started out as a chemistry teacher to assistant principal to superintendent. And Texas is divided into regions. And he was the executive president of Region 10. All that means is he was the big man, okay? And we had written one set of curriculum written by Americans. He said, Jim, that's not good. Okay, tell me why. He said, no, it needs to be written by Cameroonians. Because they're going to understand their idioms, figures of speech, terminologies. Now, I've been to Cameroon 68 times or something. And so when I'm on the English side, I don't speak Pidgin, but I know a lot of words that I'm going to use that work there that you would think, get that guy out of the pulpit. I mean, he shouldn't talk like that. But it's just terminology that I'm familiar with. And so Lori, though, what she did two things. She had daily devotionals. Now, when you hear the word devotional, I don't know what you think of as far as time. They were 45 minutes. Okay, so we're not talking about a 5-minute devo. And the devotionals were on courage. And what she did, she took 5 Bible characters who'd been courageous. Daniel was one of them. I don't remember the others. I wasn't in the class, but I saw the material. But anyway, and each day we'd look at this Bible character and then make application how we can be courageous in our lives. And then the rest of the class was on the Beatitudes. For 6 years, 10 years, somewhere in that ballpark, we have trained about 5 English and 5 French sisters how to go into villages and train those sisters how to teach kids. And they will always take material with them and all this sort of jazz. Lori, as I've already told you, went a different direction. And the ladies were thrilled. And these 10 sisters came up to me and said, Jim, could we do this in the future when we go out? Because if you've ever taught even children, now I understand if you're teaching 3rd grade, then you're not going to teach on a highbrow. You're just not going to do that, right? You're not going to say, the Greek says to a 3rd grader, give me a break. But if you're going to be a good teacher, even on a small level, on a lower age level, you need to have a good knowledge of the Scriptures. And so Lori's class just really went over well. Here's just a picture of the French brethren. Okay, I've shown you a picture like this before. If you look at Cameroon and America, obviously there are many differences, but here's one similarity. If you look at the church in America, numerically, the strength is in the South. I didn't say spiritually, I said numerically. Now, I grew up in Wichita, Kansas. When I was a kid, Wichita was like 250,000 people. There were 12, 15 churches of Christ, something like that. Cleveland Avenue was the largest congregation with like 400. I go to Sunset in Lubbock. Sunset was 2,000. The Broadway Church of Christ in Lubbock was 3,000. And you tell that to a Kansan, and it's like you're telling fairy tales. There aren't churches that size. Well, yeah, there are. Well, in the north of Cameroon, you have the same situation. The numerical strength of the church is in the south, not in the north. There are a number of reasons for that. Now, Cameroon has 10 provinces, or we'd call them states. They're pretty easy to remember because most of them are directions. North, south, east, west. Northwest, southwest. Far north. Far north is the name of a region. It's different from the north. Then central, which at least is a geographic deal, and Adam one, leader all. Those are your 10. Okay. The north is on the French side. The church is not strong on the French side anywhere. Why is that true? I'll give you 2 reasons. There's more than 2. One is the vast majority of the mission work has been on the English side. Number 2, and this is true in Cameroon, this is true in France, this is true anywhere French is spoken. The French are not receptive to the gospel for the most part. They're just not. France is a great example of that. The Church of Christ has been in France since like 1950. Only God knows how many tens of millions of dollars we've sunk into the country of France. And today, there are a handful of congregations, and they're all small. Another problem in the north is there's a lot of Muslims in the north. Now, the far north, okay, I've been to 9 of the provinces. I've never been to the far north. The reason I've not been to the far north is because the United States Department of State has said, don't go there because Boko Haram is there. They have killed Americans, they've kidnapped Americans, Europeans, and so, I've never been there. But I've been to the north many times, many times. And what we do, because the churches are small, they're small numerically and they're also small financially. For these 10 brothers to come to for one of them to come, round trip, it costs $135. Okay. To you or me, $135 is just not a ton of money. I mean, if you go in a Walmart and you want to buy a big pen and they say they'll be $135, you'll tell them go fly a kite. But that's not a whole lot of money to us, right? To them, it's not only a whole lot of money, it's too much. They can't afford it. And so I've been raising money, never had any problems, of bringing these 10 down, and then they go back and they have seminars themselves up there. And they take the booklets back. And it's been a blessing. It has really been a blessing. Okay, the only thing I want to point out here on the English preachers, you see all those guys in the purple shirts? The Bear Valley School of Preaching has a school in Watutu. That's on the English side. They have one in Banga, which is on the French side in Cameroon. Those kids are from Watutu, the English guys, okay? They'd never come to the seminar. When they showed up, I was surprised. But I was really happy. And I'm going to show you a quote in just a minute from one of them. They loved the seminar. They told us, Jim, we're learning things here that we've not been taught in preaching school. And so it was a delight for them to be with us. Okay, every time I've been with you, I've shown some quotes to you. On Thursday of both seminars, we hand out a evaluation form. Some of it is just pick a box, I like it, I don't like it, junk like that. But then there are places where they can write stuff, okay? And we always tell them, we don't want your name because we want you to feel free to blow us out of the water if that's what you want to do, okay? Now, the comments are almost always totally positive, but here are just some of them. Number one, this seminar has helped me learn to make relationships with people. I then can evangelize and bring them to Christ. Thank you for your teaching. Number two, the seminars helped us understand that God is in control, and one day with His help, we can function without you. I love that one. Because that wasn't something I wrote, that was something one of them wrote. You guys helped support Louis Besai for a number of years, and Louis, many years, got some of his brethren mad at him because at one of the seminars he raised his hand and he said, you know, we can do this. We don't really need you. And so they don't like to hear that. So anyway, I like number 2. Number 3, as a student preacher, this is one of those purple guys. Well, he's not a purple guy, but wearing the purple shirts. As a student preacher, this seminar has helped me see how to be a better leader in the church. I cannot thank God enough for this seminar. Number 4, we thank our brothers and sisters in America who sacrificed their means for this seminar. Just a couple of words here. This seminar is not cheap. We will feed twice a day everyone. That booklet, it costs money to translate it. It costs money to print it. We always have benevolent cases arise. We have some transport. We don't pay everybody's transport. We do some. And they know that money doesn't come out of my pocket. They know that the American Christians are helping, and they're very, very appreciative. Number 5, I must confess that this seminar has helped me so much in my spiritual life. I am thankful for the relentless way you're trying to build us up. Number 6, the seminar has made me to be stronger in my faith and how to be a comforter and be courageous. Sister Lori has touched my life. Number 7, one thing real quickly, and this is true with Lori, this is true with Louise, this is true with, they always say, come back next year, we need to have the seminar 5 times a year. And see, the mentality, and I understand this, they think, number 1, that all Americans have money trees, okay? And so whenever we want to buy something, no problem. And that we can travel at a minute's notice, and if we want to go every June, if we wanted to go June, July, you know, it's no big deal, you know. And once again, I understand where they're coming from. But at any rate, where was I at? Oh, number 7. The work that the Church in America has done in America is not in vain. A good foundation has been laid, and the seminar is a blessing. I like what he or she said about the foundation. The Church of Christ has been in Cameroon since 1967. That's when Wendell and Barbara Key entered. They were American missionaries in, it would be eastern Nigeria. In 1967, the Biafran War broke out in Nigeria, and they had to flee the country. Well, Cameroon and Nigeria border each other, and they just hopped over on the English side, and that worked out well. They spoke English, and they set up shop, and they started evangelizing, all that kind of stuff. One of the things, and I've talked to a lot of Cameroonians about this, who know the history of mission work in Cameroon. It's my opinion that early on we were too free with money. And what happened, we developed a, what kind of mentality am I looking at? A dependency. There's a word, what am I looking for?
Expectation.
No, because we have the same thing in America. Huh?
Entitlement.
Entitlement and mentality, yeah. We all know that there are Americans today who believe the government owes them everything, right? That's just the way it is. And a lot of our brethren in Cameroon believe Jim is in charge, or the American is supposed to do everything. And so to me, I am in the foundation business. We're trying to lay a foundation, and I think we have, over the last 25 years, the church has really grown. Number 8, Brother Jim said on the first day that Richard's class would be practical. He spoke the truth. Okay, I want to talk to you about the crisis for a few minutes. The crisis is on the English side. There are secessionists who want to secede and form their own country. That'll never happen, I don't think, because the French have all the power. They have the government, they have the military, they have the money, they have France behind them. I mean, it's like if you and I are playing poker, and I've got 4 aces and a king, which probably means I'm cheating, but if I do, and you have a 2 and an 8 and a jack and a 5 and a 9, and they're different suits, I'm winning that, right? I've got the cards. Well, the French do too. But what has happened over the last 4 years, we have lost, when I say we, the Cameroonian people on the English side have lost anywhere from 3,000 to 20,000 people have been killed. I've heard 3 figures. 3,000, I got that off the internet, off of Google. 13,000 came from Paul Key. 20,000 came from John Claude. I don't know where John Claude got his information. I mean, I'm not saying he's wrong. I don't know. But even if it's 3,000, that's 3,000 too many. Emmanuel B. Song, that you see on the picture, he's a preacher for a village church. I've known Emmanuel for 25 years. Some of the secessionists believed, and where they got their information, I have no idea, that he was a sorcerer. They went into his house. They didn't say, Mr. Emmanuel, we hear you're a sorcerer. What do you have to say about it? They came in with a machete and pow, took out all 4 fingers. They're gone. Now they found out quickly, no, he's not a sorcerer. Whoop-de-doo. You know, you can't put the fingers back on, right? The crisis, even I cannot grasp it, how bad it is. Now, I pray every day for the crisis. Now, one of the problems with prayer, now keep listening to me, okay? I think you're going to agree with me when I'm done. Okay, we understand that prayer is not a magic bullet. You just pray to God for X and He gives you X. Pardon me?
He gives you an answer.
He gives you an answer. He answers every prayer, but it's not always what we want. And as a friend of mine once said, God has lousy timing. And I think you understand what my friend is saying. You know, if I'm sick, I want to be well now, right? You know, if I've had a surgery and I'm going to be well 6 months from now, that doesn't really give me a whole lot of comfort. I mean, yeah, I'm glad I'll be well in 6 months, but the pain is here right now, right? Well, with the crisis, when I pray in a house that is heated in the winter and is cooled in the summer. I pray in a house that has a closet nearby that has more clothes than I need. I pray in a house that has more furniture than I need. I pray in a house where there's an icebox nearby. I just dated myself saying icebox, didn't I? A refrigerator nearby that has more food than I need. Now, I don't feel guilty, and I'm not here to guilt trip you. I'm thankful God has blessed me the way He's blessed me. I don't know if you've ever thought, you know, why was I born in America? Why wasn't I born in Cameroon? My parents were godly Christians. Why wasn't I born to radical Muslim extremists? You know, and I don't know the answer to that. You know, maybe I'll ask God someday. I don't know what He'll say. But the thing is, our brethren are suffering. Let me give you one quick example. The churches are almost empty because they're afraid if they get out, a bullet may catch them. The Kumbatown Church of Christ is the largest congregation in the country. Pre-crisis, not COVID, pre-crisis, they would have like 225 on Sunday morning. Last a year ago, February, I was talking to their preacher on the phone. I said, William, what was your attendance yesterday? 25. Not 225, 25. Sometimes it's 0. And so our brethren are truly suffering. Okay, very quickly, some lessons. Our brethren have a thirst for knowledge. They do. I'm telling you, whether it's teaching a Bible class, and I'm talking about, forget the seminar, I'm talking about a Bible class for the church, preaching a sermon. I mean, more than half, they've got pen and paper. I mean, they are paying attention. And I tell people who travel with me, Americans, I say, be careful what you say, because they listen. I'll give you a quick example. A number of years ago, I'm walking down the street with a brother, a preacher, and he said, how's Brother Ross doing? I only know one Ross. His name's Ross Hollingsworth. He's one of our members at Buckingham Road. Well, he's fine. He said, well, 3 years ago, you asked us to pray for him, and I've been praying for him every day. I said, knock it off. Quit praying for Ross. He's okay. Okay, they pay attention. Number 2. Did I hit that right? Yeah. Our brethren desire to follow Jesus. You know, you'll never follow Jesus if you don't want to, right? It don't happen by accident. Preachers are learning how to study. They are. They really, really are. The brethren want to grow. This is so important. That may be a simple statement. You know and I know, next Sunday morning, you're not going to walk in this auditorium and it's packed. Now, we'd be happy if that happened. That ain't going to happen, right? Because churches don't grow quickly. But they don't grow at all if there's not a desire. If I don't want to grow, I'm not going to grow. It's like, if I want to know the Bible, I'm not going to read the Bible. And our brethren really do want to grow. And finally, you're making a difference. You are. Andrew, that kid, I say kid, I think he's 60 years old, but he's a kid. He's a great worker. Where he lives in Spolacombe, picture Taft Avenue out here from here to whatever the next main street is. But picture it with houses as well as, businesses. And picture every one of those houses and one of those buildings burnt to the ground. That's where Spolacombe was, where he lived. Now they didn't burn the church. Okay. But he had to flee into the bush. But he didn't just go in the bush and hang out doing nothing. He established a congregation there. He baptized like 20 people, and they're worshiping. Now, he's back in Spolacombe now, but he's doing a great work. The support you've given to me, I mean, what you're doing is making a big difference. And the last thing is how I began. And I'm going to do this every time I come up here. I make no apologies for this. I shouldn't apologize for this. Because thank you is what, didn't you teach your kids say thank you when they were little? When somebody does something for you, you say thank you. And if you don't, you're a rotten guy or gal, as the case may be. And my wife sometimes says I'm rotten, but most times she says I'm pretty good. You know how that goes. But I do appreciate you guys so much. I can tell time. I'm 1 minute over, so we're done. Thank you.